Hi!
I'm Amy.
And I'm Joe.
And we're the Rolling Rogans.
Whoa!
Yeah, I want to kiss. Mwah. Welcome to the Rolling Rogans
Episode 2.
Art of Aging.
Yes, this is episode 2. And we are...
Because we talked about the other stuff, so it just depends on which
What,
order
the
I
search
put.
for more money?
I don't know what order it is yet, so...
Yeah. I have the best distraction, by the way. I mean, you're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but to the right of me is just the waves in the water on this lake.
I set us up wrong. I should have been over there, and so you were over here, so you weren't distracted.
I'll just have to put a mirror right behind me so you can see it. Or we should just build a podcast studio out by the water.
True.
Kind of like a boathouse.
There you go. Anyways, we talked about this before we get to this recording. What we're going to talk about today.
It's my job to throw her off all the time.
And it's my job to get back on track.
Going off the rails on the crazy train.
We are talking about how we got to this point. What happened last year that threw us into the caregiving. Like, insanity.
We had to get to California.
Oh my god, it was insane. And
Get out of here now.
It really damaged me physically. And
I'm fucked up.
Your beard has a lot more gray in it. You aged about 5 years.
5 years and 1 year. It matches this fuzzy on the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
And we did go to California.
So you were in getting your karate promotion.
We knew shit was going down in California with my mom. Her husband, his health was going down.
He'd been in the hospital for a couple months.
2 months, 3 months, something like that.
Since November, so this is going to be the hard time for her again.
So we were just kind of being a lifeline on the phone talking to her. But it was such a strange situation because the whole 3 months, I don't think she was at the hospital that, like, maybe 3 or 4 times.
That's it? I thought it was more than that.
No. She was
she depends
home.
on other people driving her.
She had, that was part of it. She had DoorDash sent to her door pretty much every day. Dale did that.
Right.
From the hospital.
So he had rheumatoid arthritis and some other stuff that we're not even 100% sure what was happening. Your aunt kept calling us, your mom's sister kept calling us to come out there, and your mom even called us one time saying she was suicidal because she couldn't live without him and couldn't take care of him and all this other stuff. And so we had to call crisis hotline.
A pit in my stomach.
Yeah.
Too many times.
So you were at your karate promotion, and right after that, while he had passed away that same day. Yes. And so we left the next morning.
We already decided that we're going to go out there. It was going to happen. He passed away earlier than expected, but I think it was just more I was there to help support my mom because I really am not connected to this guy. He would be my stepfather, basically.
Your parents were married for almost 30 years, and you were already an adult.
This is when I graduated college when they divorced.
Yeah.
So
you weren't really connected.
Yeah, but I was getting promoted in karate. So I've been doing karate for I was on my 2nd year, I believe. Yeah. I was up for
that was
promotion.
Very important for you to finish. And then we were going to leave. He just happened to pass away that same day.
Right. On the day I got my orange belt with the blue stripe is
the
day.
So anyways, our van lifestyle, living in a van for 5 years, afforded us the opportunity to we didn't have to pack, nothing. It was not out of that ordinary of a thing for us to just go across the country.
It conditioned us for this.
Yeah.
We were,
Everybody kept asking, like, how long are you staying? How long are you staying? We're like, well, we have our home. I worked remotely. We could stay as long as we needed to. And we needed to. So while we're traveling from Florida to California, I was training one of my employees, and it was just insane because the company I worked for, I was customer service manager and built the entire customer service department. Trained my first employee when your mom was going through all this, and then my second employee we'll explain later. Anyways, it was just very stressful trying to.
We made it out there in 4 to 5 days. We just
5 days,
and
it was a blur.
Well, we didn't leave my mom hanging. We knew that from my mom's account or information that she gave is that her husband's sister was taking care of all the things.
The immediate death things, like
Right.
the cremation, the burial, things like that. So
it's like, okay, we're not in charge of that. We
She's
can
taking care of
get
that.
ourselves out there,
take care of your mom's emotions.
console my mom, and everything will be fine, right? Well,
Oh my God, that was hell.
that was the worst communication, the worst stress that
We didn't even know where his body was when we got there.
And it was so cryptic.
We found it. It was difficult communicating with the family, things like that. We can't say too much. But we've talked to the funeral home. I had called them finally, and they couldn't give me any information because legally they couldn't, which we're like, okay, well, here's my number in case something happens. Well, the sister didn't come through, and so they contacted us, and we were down there immediately. Like,
we thought the body was cremated already.
And it wasn't because they were waiting for payment, which we said we were going to pay. But his sister just didn't give us any information. And she just disappeared.
She ghosted.
So, the funeral home could not contact her at all. And they tried everything, which I was really impressed with how they tried.
The burner phone
Yes,
technique?
It was wild.
But by California state law, since like she had a certain amount of time, or they gave her a certain amount of time and she didn't come through, since you made that lifeline to reach out to that home, they contacted you.
And her sister had all the stuff from the hospital, his wedding ring, his phone, his computer, like everything, because your mom was so distraught. She said, just go ahead and take it.
Right.
Well, that became an issue as well. So we, like I said, I don't know how much you want to get into.
Well, we won't drop names, but there is just a lot of...
When people pass away, evil comes out.
Totally.
My God.
Yes.
Luckily, we had lawyers. We, had things contacted to be able to protect your mom.
We didn't really have a lawyer, but we called lawyers to consult and see
to make sure we were doing things right.
We had to take over. I mean, honestly, I became the executor of the estate, if you will, even though there is no estate.
He had no will. He had no nothing.
So it's
backstory on that. 5 years ago, we tried to talk to them, be like, hey, you're getting to that age. Could you please tell us what your wishes are? You don't have to tell us everything. Just tell us that you've decided things. You're putting it into action. He got so mad at us and just refused to talk to us for the rest of that visit because, well, they're not going to die. They're not going to have this issue, all this other stuff. So I know it's a tough conversation, but you have to have something.
Right.
And we'll talk about that on other episodes and things and what we've learned in the process.
Trying to make my mom comfortable, trying to,
undo the paperwork. Oh, my gosh.
Mourning, and then we're trying to find out where his beneficial, who's the beneficiary, his life insurance, all the things that, you do when somebody passes away. And making sure...
California law says that if there's no will, the spouse gets everything.
Community property is what it's called.
Which is essentially what saved your mom. Otherwise, she would have been extremely screwed.
Yes, because even with the house, she was a tenant of the property. What was it called?
A joint tenant.
Joint tenant. And due to that, all the things go to her because there's no will to say who gets the house, who gets this.
Even when the family threatened probate and other stuff.
Crazy
they
stuff.
Had no... That's why we contacted
They were
lawyers.
trying to get the house.
Yeah. They had no control over it.
Yeah.
So...
and talk about he has a son that I'm not sure, because he's had other marriages in the past.
And this is blended family stuff.
Yeah, so we're just coming into a shit show.
Yeah.
Totally.
Plus, your mom, we're finding out, had more physical and possible cognitive issues.
Yeah.
And plus, she's grieving. Plus, she could not handle her money. She couldn't... she had the ideas and the general things, and there's so much more to that story, too.
You can assess, what's going on, and she can't even really cook a meal herself.
But the main point I'm trying to say is it was like we were thrown in full blast. And usually I feel like that's what happens to caregivers, is a crisis happens, and you just go in trying to think you're fixing one thing, but it just blows up into a whole more. Oh my God. The medical bills, I got rid of you
can say the number.
Okay. I got rid of $2 million of medical bills. Not just poof, it's gone. I just filled out paperwork properly that they couldn't figure out how to do before he passed. His sister, him, nobody figured out how to do it. So when the lady that contacted me from, forget what the California's healthcare system, I don't remember what it is, but they The lady contacted me. She said, I was trying to help them. They wouldn't let me do my job. And so I just said, okay, what do you want me to do? I filled out the paperwork properly, got approved, and poof, the majority of it was gone. And she just had a little bit to pay. Like, that was it. But your mom would have been so screwed if somebody couldn't figure out that paperwork.
Not to mention that they were going to lose the house.
Yeah, we got there and they had to make the next 3 payments. He just barely got a forbearance on the mortgage. And then come to find out they didn't pay the mortgage for 4 years.
4 years.
And it was just, as we went through cleaning up the house to get ready for selling, just more and more uncovered. The dirty laundry came out and it was just insane.
How many credit cards they owed.
How much he was opening in her name because he screwed his credit.
Yup. Where is this money going?
And all the while, we're trying to protect your mom because she's grieving her husband that she cared for so much and he was such a wonderful person. And she still doesn't know to the extent because it would destroy her perception of it.
Right.
So do you tell her or do you not? Do you let her grieve the love or do you destroy the whole relationship?
I think
it was a tough choice, I think.
At the time when someone's grieving, that's not the place and time to do it.
We chose not to, yeah.
But also from assessing her, she wouldn't have the cognitive ability to understand what's happening.
Yeah.
So it would just take too much effort, too much energy for me. Maybe I'm trying to think I would feel better about myself if I got to tell her, but what is the point if she can't grasp it?
Right. And when you're grieving somebody, you don't want to just completely destroy that
No.
either. What was it, about 2 months into it? So I worked remotely. I set up my desk, but she's a very negative person. Complains a lot. She complains it's raining. She complains it's sunny. It doesn't matter. She complains. That's very difficult for me. I've had mental health issues. We will talk about a lot of my stuff later in other episodes. Between the stress from work, I was helping transition our company from one warehouse to another, all this stuff. I was working Pacific Coast time zone, but the company's in Central time zone, so I was getting up at like 6 in the morning. It was just very difficult for me with chronic illnesses. Plus the stress of that, plus trying to help with all the financial things that you guys were having trouble with. It was just way too much. You saw me breaking down, and we know my level. I was crying every morning.
Your symptoms from the past resurfaced,
yeah.
Where you were talking fast. You're
Yeah.
becoming more manic in a way.
Right.
And I knew something had to change.
And I was diagnosed bipolar right after we got married.
Yep.
And we will talk a lot more about that later and how I don't
Find
have it
out
anymore.
in an upcoming book called Happy Medium.
We got to finish it first before you
Almost
start.
there.
Anyways, so
But we had so much
my mental health is very important.
things in life that have
Yes.
postponed that, but we're almost there.
So, anyways, I'm going to be doing the anyways like Dave and our friends podcast. You saw me getting really bad. So you were the one that made the decision.
I said, you need to get out of here.
Yeah, we need to get you out of here.
We need to, maybe your boss can put you on a...
I did have a business trip, yes.
Business trip.
Our new warehouse was in Chicago, and my family is in that area, and it aligned with a family wedding, and it worked perfect timing.
And I'll clean up all this mess.
I felt so bad leaving you. Nobody was helping you.
No, not
Nobody.
even the
your
people
aunt...
that are sitting in the chair thinking they could do a better job and have not been once over the house
and criticize you
and criticize me for the way I'm handling things,
but not coming and actually helping, just criticizing.
Yep.
Yeah, I know that's a very, very sore subject for you, and I felt really bad leaving, but that's kind of our marriage. We know our tolerance levels, right? And we support each other.
Right.
So I was able to leave, got a business trip to Chicago, went to my family. My family has a cabin in Wisconsin. I was going to go and just relax, recover while I was training my second employee. And 3 weeks into that, my dad has a heart attack and is in the hospital, had to have triple bypass surgery. Luckily, though, out of all the scenarios of our van life travels, of all this stuff, I was only 2.5 hours away from him. So that I could get there easy, quickly, smooth transition. I'm actually kind of weirdly grateful for the fact that I couldn't be in California anymore, so that I was there to help my family to do that.
Yes.
It was weird. So I moved in with my parents for 2.5 months to help my dad's recovery from his heart attack, because my mom has mobility issues. She's aging and really struggling with her health as well.
But I also think that you walked into something that you weren't really expecting.
Hell no.
Especially with your mom.
Oh my gosh.
How much your mom's deteriorated.
I've been tracking my mom's symptoms for a good at least 5 to 10 years, but nobody was really doing anything about it. And when you have early cognitive issues, it's really hard. Is it just the person's depressed? Is it their personality changing when they're aging? Or is it a dementia type thing? Like, it's really hard to figure out. And those 2.5 months, you really don't know until you're living with the person.
Yeah.
You really don't understand. And even then you start to question some of it. Like, am I really seeing this? Am I really experiencing this? I mean, my dad, he felt so relieved. I was like, Dad, this is not right. Like, you should not be dealing with this. And so luckily my dad came out of that surgery flying colors. He's recovering so well. Like, he's really doing well. But I really think a lot of the stress that he had a heart attack, part of it,
is killing him.
Is the stress of caregiving.
It's not over. It's killing him.
Yeah, I know. And that's really makes me concerned. But I can't make him do stuff.
Yeah. What was the percent they said? That
30% of caregivers they die before their person that they're caregiving for. Because they don't take care of themselves. They don't ask for help like they should. They don't do their own doctor's appointments. No. It's hard enough to do the loved one's doctor's appointments and do your own doctor's appointments. So that, to me, was a big wake-up call. And so I've been really trying to support my dad and give him the resources that he needs. But ultimately, I can't make him do things. I can make the appointments and then he goes. That one works really well for us. But I can't get him to go to support groups that he's not ready for it yet. He admitted at least he's, has a hard time asking for help. Things like that. But just being there full time was really super eye-opening. And I've always had a hard time. Like, I was never really that close with my mom. Like, we never really had that relationship where we talk every day, things like that. So, but it wasn't no abuse, it wasn't bad. It's just, I just have a hard time connecting with her on things.
It's not verbal, you're right. It is mentally draining, and
very much so.
I think it's also like, that's just a preview of what caregiving is, because your mom did that for a long time, even when we married on our own.
I think I know where you're going. You sometimes say, you sound like your mom, your mother.
Yeah, I mean...
And sometimes I get upset about that, and sometimes I was like, no, because I want you to help me change so that
hell no. If you were exactly like your mom, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be on this podcast talking and then like
no,
joking and things like that, because...
No, I appreciate you helping me become aware of things. And I don't always change and navigate it as well as I could, but...
For couples, I mean, honestly, in a relationship, you both need to speak up. And it's not shaming, it's not criticizing, it's just...
helping each other grow.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it might hurt.
Yeah.
But also, it can be fun, because then you can start taking blows at each other. Like, you sound like your mom, or you sound like your dad.
Well, but when you sound...
But it's like, okay, I did sound like shit.
When you sound like your dad, though, you're adorable. Your dad, you talk to the cat like your dad talks to the animals. And it's adorable.
That cat needs to get a job. I don't care what people say.
But when I sound like my mom, it scares the crap out of me.
That's why I'm employing chickens.
But then I even do that with my brother. I'm like, talk to my brother, and I'm like, you're starting to sound like mom, or you're starting to sound like dad.
You are on top of that. You're going to the doctors. You're trying to figure it out, because your mom's had this cough for the longest time that just escalated into... I don't know.
I don't know, and she still hasn't gotten any answers because she's
not
doing
anything.
The work. She's not putting the effort in to figure it out.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But and I
Right.
Try very hard to make sure that I'm doing everything possible.
So now I can anyways you and get you back on track. But yeah, you from the very beginning, I feel like a lot of that is you were taking care of her in that sense, or she gives you these guilt trips that you're never good enough for that.
I felt like I was never there enough, never good enough because of the way she was talking to me. But in order to protect myself and my own mental health, I had to back off.
I actually think she got jealous of me.
Yeah, maybe.
Because, she made a deal with God.
You had that conversation.
Yeah, it doesn't really explain, what that, pact was, but don't make any deals with the supernatural. Not a good idea.
Never turns out the way you expect.
No.
So we were separated for 3 months because you were in California. I was in Wisconsin. I missed something. Right before I left to go to Wisconsin, you brought your mom to Florida to look at assisted living places.
Because what I did was I said, okay, Mom, what do you want to do from here? where do you want to go? Because she could go anywhere. She picked Florida because she knew that family was there. Like, she would most likely be able to see me more and maybe my brother at some point. But that was
he lives in a different state,
the idea that she wanted. And so whatever she wanted to go, I would help support her in that. So what we did was...
researched all the assisted living places, made
Mhm.
appointments for you. We had a whole schedule, which turned out to be too many places at once.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she started getting just overwhelmed.
Right. Well, I mean, because she's
So then,
having vision challenges, can't see. She's walking around with a cane like a 90-year-old woman when she's 76.
so then you decided to visit her cousin.
Because she hasn't seen her cousin
Celeste.
in a long, long time, and she does have family out here. So we went and saw her cousin, and she had the idea of, like, maybe I could live with her. Maybe we could have something like that. And I'm like...
Your mom
well,
said that.
Yes. And I said, wow, that's actually a really good idea. But I'm not going to tell her that and say, like, hey, Celeste, my mom wants to live with you. I really want my mom to do this on her own.
Yeah.
It's not, that's
You're
what
trying
she
to
has do.
empower her because she
Right.
doesn't know how to live without a
Because
husband.
I actually doubted that she would do it.
Yeah.
And it actually surprised me that she put it out there one day while we were talking. And so that's where that came from. And now she could rent when we move out. And that was great. So I'm like, wow, I was proud of my mom for that. Kudos for her. So
But then when you get here, your Celeste said she's looking to rent a room.
Yeah.
So it actually worked out great.
Can I just close up California because it was a living hell?
Sure.
And you were on the phone on that day when you called me with our niece.
So I
didn't really want to lose it in front of my niece, which I did lose it in front of my 2 second cousins.
So I was already in Wisconsin. You had got it set up that your mom's friends who are real estate brokers, they were going to help you sell the house. You could do all the final papers, long distance. It was no big deal. You could just get out.
Yep.
You and your mom were just ready to
We
leave.
were ready to go, packed. Movers are going to come pick up our stuff in the garage. Last thing we had to do was like dinner with her good friends that helped buy the house and helped sell the house. So they wanted to see us for lunch, and we're like, that's fine. And then after that, we're going to go pick up her dog from the house.
And you said...
And we're gone.
And you said goodbye to everybody already.
Said goodbye.
Right?
Said goodbye to
cousins,
my moms,
sisters,
my aunts,
yeah.
and everybody.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. Like, well, as we finished lunch and we started driving back to pick up her dog, she gets a call from her sister. And then her sister says, where are you? And it's like, we are about to leave. It's like, you really are going? It's like, yeah. What part did you not understand? And it said, we are actually packed, just going to come pick up the dog. And it says, like, well, because, my cousin is on the way to say goodbye. And then, like, we told them that, no, we're done. Like, and besides...
You had already said goodbye.
We already said goodbye.
Yeah.
And it says, well, they're on the way to the house now to say goodbye, and we'd like to say goodbye to you. And I'm like, well, so what my mom and I try to do is we try to get back to the house fast.
To get out before
anybody shows up.
And your mom was on board with this.
Yeah, my mom was totally
Completely
on board with this because
this.
she was done.
Yeah.
She was exhausted, and she was stressed out and ready to leave. Because I drove her across country in our van that we built.
It actually worked out really good.
And she was a trooper. She got to see Route 66.
Say goodbye first.
I will say goodbye. But I'm just saying a trooper because, like, she slept on a cushion on the floor instead of my bed in the back of the van. I was going to switch with her.
Yeah.
With her dog. But anyways.
Yeah, she traveled.
But to my surprise, my cousin, my mom's niece,
yes,
with her husband and 2 kids, which is very weird because out of all the time we were there for 6 or 7 months,
you were there for 6 months, I think.
6 months. They have never came over to this house.
Your cousin did, but her husband never did.
Never.
And the kids
never
never
did. Yeah, the kids never did. Never. Just until now, which was really weird. And for some reason...
Nobody believed that you were doing a proper job to sell the house.
Right. I guess that's what it is. They wanted to take a look and see what the house looks like.
And if they ever listen to this and disagree with us, then they can have the conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, he brought his lunch, his sandwich. My cousin's husband brought and sat down and was eating a sandwich in the kitchen.
That was cleaned for a showing later that day.
Right. And I'm like,
just furious.
What part did you not understand? And I was fine. I was trying to keep my cool. But then the straw that broke the camel's back on that one was my aunt shows up with her boyfriend which I had butt heads with while I was out there.
Because of how he criticized you for no reason.
Uh-huh. And just literally talking shit about what I do. Like, really, that's it. Like, I'm not doing a good job.
And you are one of the most compassionate, patient, giving, kind people.
Yeah.
So to have somebody question that on you is just infuriating.
He's telling my aunt, he's telling my mom, he's pouring into that, like, these, this house is, they're taking advantage of you for getting, you could get more for this house.
Guess what?
There.
A year later, it's still for sale. Actually, they took it off the market.
Yeah.
And the only reason that you sold it was because you had a conversation with somebody completely off.
And I wasn't looking at the house.
That wasn't even looking at the house.
No.
You built a relationship and you sold that house.
Yep.
They would never have sold that house.
Yep.
Because it's that guy. I feel bad for him, though.
He'll get over it.
He'll get over it. But it's an investment property. He's renting it now.
Mm-hmm.
But they could not sell that house.
Right. So we got out. When I saw my aunt's boyfriend, I was like, you got to get me out of this house right now. We got to go. I was like trying to tell my...
You never lose your temper.
Cousin is trying to tell her husband. And I started dropping the F-bomb in front of
the kids.
Yeah, his kids. And I said, if this guy comes in the house, I'm probably going to jail. So I got to go.
Which is so
I got to
unlikely.
go now. Like, I really, I was like, and my mom was upset. She was crying. She wanted to leave too. So we basically just abruptly just left.
Got in the van and just left.
Left them in the house. I don't care if they leave. They could just stay there. We are gone. And I said, what part did you not understand when I said we are gone?
Yeah.
We are going. You're not listening.
And as we do, the theory of Rogantivity that your dad taught us to do is see it from other people's point of view. Put yourself in their shoes. They're sad to see her sister leave, stuff like that. I get it, but that was messed up.
It was really messed up.
Yeah.
There was probably a better way to handle it.
But how cool is it for you to give your mom the road trip? She had been wanting to do that. She wanted to do Route 66. She loves cars.
She saw a Cadillac Ranch.
She saw cowboys in Texas. She almost didn't want to leave Texas. She likes the cowboys.
Yep.
You got to do the experience where you wake up in the Cracker Barrel parking lot and you just roll out of bed and go to breakfast.
Smell the bacon and eggs.
Yep.
That's the alarm clock. It goes right through the vans.
She always wanted to do that.
Fans that we built into it. Yeah.
So one of my favorite pictures from you, that trip that you guys did, was you sitting at one of the campgrounds. You had your little coffee cups and you're sitting outside the van, and just the smile on her face was just priceless. Right. It was just so beautiful.
I mean, she really looked like she blossomed there. From being kind of so closed in a recliner chair, in California, and had a blanket on her like she
looked like a 90-year-old, like she was going to pass.
And she shined.
And what the work that her cousin did to get her off the walker, get her off the canes, show her what it's like to be independent, just did so much good for her coming here.
So we didn't have to put her in assisted living. She was all set up. The movers came to bring her stuff that we, decided was coming and what's staying, which I did all the logistics for that. No help, nothing. Not even from that side of the family.
Well, I was in I was in Wisconsin and helping my staff. I couldn't even help you with logistic stuff. Like you did. I think I helped maybe one or two things, but you did everything on your own.
Right.
And just the difficulty of that and the isolation that you felt. Right?
Yeah.
Your brother wasn't able to help. His life is in a spiral right now too.
We seem to be the ones that are the perfect candidate for it, but it is a choice.
I will say that we learned a lot of it because we had lived in a van for 5 years. We learned adaptability. We learned resilience. We learned to have faith in ourselves that we're capable of figuring anything out.
Right.
There's always a solution. We're very solution-oriented. We tried to teach your mom that, but...
Well, we kind of set my mom up while she was at my cousin. I decided to take over her financially and help her because,
she asked you to.
She asked me to.
Yes.
So
she just didn't want to deal with it. She asked us to take care of her finances.
That's what I was basically going to do, not knowing what else I'm going to get into because we're trying to see how independent she can be.
And again, this turned into way more than what we expected.
Exactly. But let's talk about when we got back.
We got back together.
We had the best passionate sex that we've never had before.
With menopause involved, it's a little difficult.
Mentally.
But
this is my fantasy in my head, by the way, that's going on.
We will talk more about that as well in future episodes.
Right.
But we had...
it's out of order.
Thank you. Yes, we will get very personal. But that was the goal, is to get back together for, your dad gifted us a timeshare on St. Pete Beach. And that was the goal, is to get to that week, because that's always one of our happy places. The healing is just getting my feet in the sand and the relaxation of the ocean. It's very healing. We could breathe.
We're here.
But at the end of that week, we were like, we still need to breathe. We're not done yet.
Because we could get back in the van.
We could travel. And I was ready to travel because we had been stationary.
You were, I was.
You weren't.
I was just drained emotionally, physically, and I don't know.
I agree. But so we found an Airbnb for 5 weeks, a little cabin in the middle of Florida, literally Center Hill, I think it was.
Yeah.
And we basically just breathed a little longer, away from everybody, and basically tried to figure out our life, where do we go
from here?
We definitely could tell it was a big transition period, because normally we can just like, oh, we're going to go this way and figure out what happens. That's why we're the Rolling Rogans.
Because you still had your remote job. You were doing really well with that. And we could just hit the road. But I was just like, I don't want to leave Florida. And thank you for just, honoring that, because I really feel like, I don't know, if I did leave, I think I would actually be more stressed, more anxiety.
Well, now
I think it would have been like, I mean, I didn't know what's going to happen. You didn't know what's going to happen, but we had to make a decision. It's like, how are we going to stay?
We knew we couldn't stay in the summer because our van does not have air conditioning.
Right.
So we were either going to have to leave, or we had to get someplace that had air conditioning.
Right. So we had said, are we actually going to do an apartment again? Because this is what we went away from.
I wasn't ready to give up.
We went minimal.
I wasn't ready to give up my house on wheels.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to move it.
We're not going to, that's the thing. It's like, go back to an apartment. But then I'm like,
you have to furnish it, and you have all the stuff.
You're stuck in a lease.
Yeah.
That could be 6 months to a year.
And we didn't know what was coming.
And you don't get it back.
Yeah.
So this that we're in right now, which is the podcast studio, was our home for a year. We purchased a 36-foot travel trailer.
It's a mansion compared to the van. There's so much space.
Like 25 square feet or something.
I think with the slides is somewhere around there.
I mean, it's huge for us. We could stretch out. We could breathe.
We have a couch and we have a table.
Yeah.
Our van, it was like all in one.
Because my idea of this, and this is just from our background and traveling the road and owning multiple businesses and looking for an ROI, return on investment, is to get it back. Right. And if you rent an apartment, like your rent goes away, and you may have a great time there and everything, but it goes away. So if we rented an apartment for a year, that's basically the full total amount of
what we pay for this.
So after we have it, after a year, we still own it. It's an asset.
Right. So yes, it depreciates all that stuff, but at least we'll get something back.
Or we can decide if we need to go to a different location, we can take a home instead of like trying to figure out where we're going next.
Well, so we bought it, but then we didn't have a place to park it.
Yeah.
And then
that was a shot in the foot.
It was September and snowbirds were coming and all the campgrounds were booked. It was really hard to find a spot. But thanks to our nomad community and some really good friends, we actually did a barter system with our friends David and Trish, and they agreed to let us park on their property with full hookups.
Right.
And we took care of their animals, and we did projects around the yard and all that stuff.
And I've never taken care of chickens before.
We learned about chickens, ducks, and horses.
Yeah. So it's a whole new experience, and they also know a lot of knowledge, about the vegetation on there. Mm-hmm. It's just incredible.
And it was just, I was so, so grateful for just a peaceful place. Because by November, I started having some severe, severe neurological health problems. And I ended up by January having to leave my job because it was just too stressful. The stress of caregiving your mom and then my parents and then everything. It was just bam, bam, bam. That whole year was just nonstop insanity, just not really.
Overload.
Yeah, but my body literally just crashed, broke. And I still have some kind of like guilt or whatever emotions of I broke myself. And I get very mad at that because I know my limits. I know where I have to set boundaries and I didn't do that. And I'm very upset with myself.
Life and balance are keys to having a good life and balancing them correctly.
Well, work kind of made it easy because they started changing and it wasn't the company that I'd started with.
Yeah.
So
but it was affecting our marriage and that had to change.
Yeah.
So
one thing that we've learned is that we've always, and this is our just roll with it, is some bad things seem to be bad, but they end up helping us in the long run.
Right.
So we try not to get too emotional either way of too happy or too sad, because we know that it's part of the cycles of life. And it's part of
how you
the twists and turns.
You respond. You don't react to it. You don't get stuck on the outside of that emotions.
Right.
Because happy emotions and sad emotions, they still are an added stress. Mm-hmm. So if
my body can't tell the difference between excited or upset or anger or whatever. It's all stress to me. It's a good stress. It's a bad stress. But my body reacts to stress.
Right.
Big time. And we'll talk more about all of that and the invisible illnesses and things and how we've helped and gone through that.
But even when we did move in on the property and lived there for almost a year, or actually
it was exactly
a year. I'm not ready to travel still, which I'm glad that I was able to kind of stay still, kind of, I guess, do a lot of personal awareness to myself or whatever.
We needed healing
and
after
figure
that
it
trip.
out.
Yeah.
But
I also want to add one thing. When we did move to the property, again, being in the right place at the right time, like we always are, had no idea. But unfortunately, their son passed away 2 days after we moved onto the property. So we just got thrown in. They couldn't even give us instructions how to take care of the animals. Friends and stuff that just kind of helped us get everything together.
We were thrown to the wolves.
Thrown to the horses and the ducks
or the
and the
horses.
Chickens.
Yeah, those horses.
But that was like, to me, something that we could never even repay them for what they did for us. I mean, we were both grateful for each other. I mean, it was just such a perfect moment for us to both be there.
They needed help on so many different levels.
And they didn't even know how much they needed. And we were there to be able to help them.
We even have a cat out of it.
That's right. We adopted one of their son's cats. And he has been such a blessing to us.
We helped them modify their kitchen.
Yep.
So we did some
with their son's cabinets and stuff so that they always have him around.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. And that was a fun time on their property. And then I think we're just going to leave it at that and then start to say on the next episode of like,
when we move up here,
how do we get here and why are we doing this?
Yeah.
What made us trigger that? Because like I said, was I still ready to travel? Was I still ready to
we were still in that transition.
But there was a key point that made that decision of like the next step of caregiving and caretaking.
And it was a very hard decision for me to go along with this.
But that will be the next episode.
Yeah. Is it the next one? It'll be all the next ones.
Well, if you're doing it chronologically.
Do we ever do anything in order?
I don't know. I don't even pay attention anymore.
I just sit you down. Hey, start talking.
I just I perform. I don't. This is her doing, not me.
Do you just live it? And thank you very much for doing this because this is, like I said.
I like chopping wood. I like chopping wood and I like growing food and staring at the lake. And I have a nice fire pit that is so relaxing. But we are doing this. I love my wife and she wants to do this. Yeah. She wants to, if this could help impact somebody's life, awesome. But also it helps document our next phase in life. And that's why we call it the art of aging.
And it helps us cope with things as well, of difficult challenges. And, we even just had a conversation this morning that I did not expect to have, but it really helped. They have been caregivers and they kind of shared some things that were very relevant to our situation.
So this is more frequently coming up in our generation.
People are younger and younger are caregiving way earlier than they expected. Oh. And so just hopefully, we're not experts. We're just going through it like everybody else is going through it. We will bring people on and we will talk to other people.
I'm just doing.
Exactly. So we just want, just hope that this helps somebody and helps us along the way as well.
Yeah.
And share some cool stories and freaking laugh because there's some just really crazy stuff that happens.
Parents say the darndest things. Just like how kids say the darndest things, parents say the darndest things. And I hope to capture that and I get to express my art with that. Maybe I'll do that in some animation.
Well, that is what the art of aging is as well, is because we're both artists. We will be having social media posts about, just our characters are going to be doing things and telling some of the stories that we, can't always tell on here. So
I'm Joe, the caregiver.
And I'm Amy, the caretaker.
And this is the Rolling Rogans.
Art of Aging.
Art of Aging.
I always do that wrong.
Maybe this one.